Dakar course from the first day. And, you know, when I look at this tape again now, looking back, it wasn't such a good day for me.
Different terrain here, Alfie, as well.
Yeah, this was part of the section of the Dakar that we did. But I was very happy here going up to the refuel, being totally on my own, having to navigate by myself here. And when I got to the refuel, I calculated my time against the front runners, and I had made, I think, 2 minutes on Richard Tite, who was the current leader at the halfway point.
What were your plans here, especially when you got into the proper desert terrain?
Starting in second place going into the stage, I knew I had Juan Roma in front of me. It was a 2 laps of the same loop, so if I could find out what I was doing on the first lap, and then second lap, obviously it's a bit easier because you're going on the same course, and getting a second year was good on the first loop.
Out, yeah, it's really flat plain. What sort of top speeds at this point?
I think when I went into the computer, Dave, at the end of the day, probably 159, and you know, my bike is the third best bike. There's still the twin cam of Juan Roma's, which is a good 168, and then you have the other one that's got a different camshaft to mine with the aluminium tanks, which is about 163. We actually looked in the evening to see who had the fastest speed of the day.
So Alfie Cox learned his lesson well. Now another local lad went to foreign shores to learn a very hard lesson indeed.
Granada Dakar Rally, a grueling race of speed and endurance, proudly sponsored by Total Coats Lubricants, tried and tested in the toughest conditions, exclusive to Supersport.
The rest day over all too soon for riders and drivers alike. Machines mended and minds fighting to refocus on the job in hand. The second half of the 21st Dakar Rally. Stage 9 was supposed to end in Gao, but security worries meant that Mopti would see the day's finale. So farewell, Bobo Bialasso. A 304-kilometre special was the rejig start, and navigation problems with the new map there for all to see. But it was Alfie Cox who was to take his first stage win in fine style. Even he was lost 5 times on the day.
You know, today was a lot of bushes, very big thorns, and not really the Dakar, because sandy tracks, but exactly like we have at home in Botswana. And I felt at home. It was great for me. It was, you know, I'm used to that type of riding, and it was perfect.
Yes, and an almost perfect day for KTM. 1 and 2. Carlo Di Gavardo, the Chilean, second on the day, 5 minutes off Cox's pace. And then came the Yamaha of Carlos Sotelo. Just seconds adrift, and ahead of Richard Tite, the overall leader. Yes, the BMW rider saying he had to take it easy through the villages, and his time would have been a lot better had he not been watching out for children, animals and mules. Thierry Magnaldi was 5th behind Tite. Magnaldi second overall, 6 minutes and 43 off the pace. And this man, Mioni, number 1, 3rd overall after finishing 6th. Yes, fond memories of Burkina Faso fading all too soon. Yes, 6 times winner of the Dakar on the bikes, Stefan Pederhansel. He swapped for a Nissan this time, and he's doing rather well. 5th on the day. 7 minutes and 49 off the winning pace. He enjoyed himself, he says. I like specials like this. Not too many stones, quite technical. There were navigation difficulties, he said. It was very amusing. Tough through the villages, though, he says. He had to slow down for everybody. They got a good time, and not too many errors, he says. Well, the Mitsubishis had a good day. Kenji Shinazuka, second fastest. 7 minutes and 4 seconds off the pace and up to 4th overall. Jutta Kleinschmidt, though, was having more difficulties than she was used to. When others were having punctures earlier in the race, she'd got through okay this time. There were 2 for her. She finished 9th. Miguel Prieto, 3-stage wins for him. 3rd today, 2nd overall ahead of Kleinschmidt. But still 9 minutes and 25 off the leader, Jean-Louis Schlesser. Yes, coming home in 3 hours 43:08 to take the stage and increasing his lead overall. No problems for others, of course. Thierry Delaverne suffering more than most. A bent steering rod for him. So on to stage 10, and those security problems still causing havoc. The diversion to Mopti meant a very long 1,000-kilometre stage was in the offing to Timbuktu, which would have seen some of the already depleted motorcyclists arriving at 3 a.m. Too late to contest the following stage. So Hubert Auriol, race director, made the announcement that for the first time in Dakar history, the bikes and the riders would be transported by aeroplane. So an unexpected rest day for the bikers. Popular with some, not so with others. Fuel drained from the machines, loaded aboard for safety reasons. Bike leader Sainz said, "It's lucky for me, but also for the amateurs. Starting at 3 in the morning and arriving in the middle of the night, it would have been impossible for some of them, just too hard." So he says the decision is a wise one. Well, for those pursuing, like Mione, it was a different story. He said, "The Dakar is not about flying, it's about racing on the ground. The decision to go by plane is not good for me. It means one less special to catch sight." He says, "But I can understand the reasons why the decision was made." So time for the riders to get some extra sleep, and for those more alert to look down and watch the race take place with the cars.
Perfect day. A lovely day today.
John Deacon more than delighted with the rest. And so a pleasant day for those on 2 wheels, and an arduous one, to say the least, for those on 4 or more. Yes, just 46 cars still in the race, and perhaps a few less by the day's end. ...600 kilometers plus of liaison, followed by more than 400 of special, and Jean-Pierre Fontenay was putting the foot down. So unlucky in the first half of the Dakar. It was to be his day. Fontenay finishing 4 minutes and 15 seconds, clear of Prieto, putting himself 7th in the overall ranking, but still over 6.5 hours off the pace. He may not be challenging for position overall, but when it comes to racing day by day, Fontenay still has the passion. Well, others as well, of course, with points to prove. Prieto himself, 3-stage wins already under his belt, and 2nd today, ahead of the leader, Mr. Schlesser. Well, a great deal of respect for this vehicle over the many years that it's contested the Dakar, and that remained intact on the day. Schlesser 3rd fastest, ahead of Shinazuka. It was Mitsubishi's 4, 5 and 6, with Matsuoka and Souza finishing ahead of the Nissan of Serbia. And what of Kleinschmidt? Well, her luck finally running out. 20 minutes lost time due to a damaged wheel stuck behind traffic. She finished 10th and fell down over 3/4 of an hour off Schlesser's pace. Overall, still 3rd. As for the trucks, the big boys, well, part of their journey was by water. A beautiful sight in the Niger Delta. And so it was back to Mauritania, a special of 539 kilometers. Gone was the greenery. It was desert conditions once more. Yes, and make or break time, particularly on the bikes. So many riders still in with a chance. And one man in particular showed the rest the way. Alfie Cox has navigation difficulties, but when the road is clear, He's the fastest man there is, and so it proved on the day. He finished in 6 hours, 4:56. Well, unlucky for others, Kari Tienanen, the Finn. Gearbox trouble. He spoke to us.
It was 70 kilometers before the end. My gearbox went broken. I lost the fourth gear. And I crashed also because of this, and I was really scared that I can't finish the stage.
Thierry Magnaldi was also out to put as much space between himself and Sainz as possible on the day. He third fastest, ahead of Bioni, the man wearing the #1. Great balance, great poise. He said he has to take his time. A measured performance. Fourth in front of Sainz, the leader. But the gap at the top, just 2 minutes and 1 second to Thierry Magnaldi. The battle on four wheels, predictable of course. Schlesser against Prieto, the two men at the top, out to outdo each other. Well, both had their problems. Schlesser, it was a puncture, and then stuck in camel grass. Prieto took advantage, but difficulties for him as well. Overheating shock absorbers meant that he finished the day 30 seconds adrift of Schlesser, the gap widening then at the top. Kenjiro Shinazuka driving for pride. He won the day. Stays over 2 hours off the pace.
Only 26 kilo we don't have a pit, just off-road. Then after the off-road we had the pit, just for the pit. So I think pit of last years. So just follow the pit, no navigation, nothing at all.
Shinazuka 1 minute and 6 seconds clear of Jose Maria Servia. He had puncture problems, but a quick change meant that he was to finish second ahead of Schlesser. Kleinschmidt, fourth on the day, ahead of Prieto. Enough to stay in touch, but 45 minutes off the pace. Another battle going on, the T1 class. Luc Alphonse up against Jean-Pierre Strugo. Strugo led at the beginning of the day by 13 seconds. By the day's end, Alphonse was on top once again. In the trucks, Moskovski blocking the Hummer, not intentionally. Moskovski leading the trucks, the Hummers playing catch-up in the tough terrain. So on to stage 12 of the Dakar, and time running out for those jockeying for position. Neymar all the way to Ticit, a special of 490 kilometers. Well, through the majestic Elephant Pass today, Hubert Auriol, as always, the race director, on hand to oversee proceedings. And a dramatic day it turned out to be, as always. John Deacon giving us a wheelie to get us underway. Well, this is the day that KTM really had to get team tactics sorted out if they were to catch Richard Sainz, the leader. Well, they failed to do that. Everyone seemed to be together in the morning, including Sainz. Nobody blocked him, however, and he got the jump on them at the death. Sainz was heading for victory this day. Yes, we were all together, he says, by the time we took on board fuel. Afterwards, we left together, but in the last 90 kilometers, I just opened it up and took it. Sainz extending his lead. Meoni, the nearest man to him on the day, 1 minute and 44 seconds off the pace, securing his place in third. Magnaldi, the real loser, finishing the day 2 minutes and 40 adrift. The gap extending for Sainz at the top. Alfie Cox, the tough guy, came home after a troubled day with a sore arm in sixth, fourth overall. The cars, no doubt about the picture of the day. A clash between Prieto and Schlesser. And there were arguments to follow, I can tell you. Schlesser was damaged at this point, his reflation system shot, but he was to get back later, as was Jose Maria Servia. 1 and 2, the Schlesser mobiles. Mitsubishi having a rough time. Prieto himself got stuck in the dunes, and at the arrival it was Schlesser that led them in. And he said, Prieto hit me, very strong. Well, no problem, they said. Prieto said, what do you mean, no problem? He hit me. Well, they managed to patch it up afterwards, thankfully. All smiles. 20 minutes separating those two at the top. Kleinschmidt's 1.5 hours off the pace after a disastrous day, finishing 46 minutes down in 7th. And as always, a mixed day for Shinazuka. He always blows hot or cold. Well, he was to finish 3rd on the day, 4th behind Kleinschmidt overall. It's time running out for those hoping to get a jump on the leaders. Matsuoka finishing 6th. De La Verne, the highest placed Nissan, 5th on the day. And so to stage 13, and it was to prove to be unlucky for some. Tishit to Attar, a special of 579 kilometers, and it was a case of the day after the night before. 1 motorcycle, 3 quads, 12 cars and 7 trucks held up by bandits at gunpoint. Race director Hubert Oriol made the announcement in the morning. Many people very shaken. Thankfully nobody hurt, but the vehicles were missing. They'd been left alone in the desert. So it's a case of look and see. The tracks were obvious, and just by a bivouac, most of the vehicles, all bar 4 Toyota Land Cruisers, were recovered. Well, the Army and the Air Force were out in force, looking for the others. They were not to be found. And so to the day's stage, and a problem of focus, perhaps, for the competitors. Thierry Magnaldi was to win the day in 7 hours, 56 minutes. He was trying to put as much space, of course, between himself and the leader, Scheidt. His overall lead reduced, others in the game as well. Acaron's 3rd on the day, ahead of an extremely brave Alfie Cox. Cox arm trouble, causing him difficulty again. It swelled to the size of a football. They drained half a pint from him. He carried on to finish 4th. Mioni also in difficulty. In the dunes, lost his fuel cap, had to go slowly. But nobody had worse luck than Tiernan. Oil spilling onto the motor. The flames began. He tried to put it out. It was ablaze. His race at an end. So victims on the bikes. Victims the night before. And it was tough as well on the leaders in the cars. Schlesser stuck in the dunes. Got a tow from José Servia. Then Servia got stuck. Got a tow from Schlesser. Helping each other. As always, the buggies featuring once again. Yes, Prieto and Shinazuka were in the chase. They got lost. Navigation problems as ever. Prieto 3rd behind Schlesser. Shinazuka 4th ahead of Serbia. Jutta Kleinschmidt, though, was back on form. Her luck finally returning. She won the day, 8 hours 43.56, 1 minute and 22 clear of the leader. Yes, Schlesser's lead up to 26 minutes. Clear of the chasing pack. Prieto, of course, heading them. A difficult day after a very difficult night. Well, on board with Pescarolo in the Nissan. He says the car was very heavy on the day, filled to the brim with fuel, just in case he got stuck in the dunes. Spare parts on board as well. He was 500 kilos overweight, and he had to be. All changes well in the trucks. Lopre, the new leader, after a great day. The same couldn't be said for Moskovsky. Stuck in the dunes, losing top spot. And so to stage 14, the last real Dakar stage for those who could pose a challenge to do so. A 433-kilometer special from Attar to Nouakchott. Well, it was KTM's day, or it was supposed to be. Their chance to close down BMW, but their luck ran out once again. Both Mioni and Magnaldi in trouble mechanically and physically. Well, Magnaldi stuck in the dunes. He was to fall very heavily after hitting a stone as well, damaging his abdomen. Well, he was carrying that injury, but it wasn't helping his strength. He was stuck in the dunes as well. His day, a miserable one. It was a very stony start, he said. The bike hit one of the rocks and threw me into the air, and I fell on a large stone myself, badly bruised my abdomen, felt very bad indeed. It was a hard knock on my right side. Well, hard knocks elsewhere in the KTM team as well. Meoni, he thought he'd broken his foot. In the end, it turned out to be a severe strain. Giovanni Sala did take the stage ahead of Meoni and Cox. Richard Sainck, though, was the man who was having all the luck. Yes, the BMW leader, finishing well clear of Magnaldi and extending his lead to 3 minutes and 38 seconds overall. Yes, KTM by far and away the most popular bike on this rally. BMW and Sainck, a thorn in their side. This was last chance for Mitsubishi and Prieto as well. Schlesser and Servia in their sights. The buggies dominating once again. Navigation problems for one and all. Prieto suffering. The dunes hampering the progress of the buggies as well. They were to help each other. And Schlesser was looking confident. Defending champion Jean-Pierre Fontenay enjoying himself in the second half of the Dakar. He finished second behind Jose Marie Servia. Schlesser was third. Navigation problems once again. Nobody really knowing where they were going in parts of this race. Some had better luck than others. Kleinschmidt had a nightmare. Crucially, Schlesser finished ahead of Prieto, extending his lead again. Elsewhere, the battle for the T1 class was going the way of Luc Alphon. And so to the penultimate stage of the Dakar. From Nouakchott, heading south with a 151-kilometer special into Senegal and Saint-Louis. Well, all hearts went out to Meoni. He was pushing, as always, to challenge Sainck, to close the gap on him and Magnaldi. A blown engine, ending his Dakar completely. He said after the broken foot, and now this, I can't believe my luck. I just want to go home and be with my family. That's all that matters now. Well, it really put a grey air on the day. Sainck, as measured and as controlled as ever, out in front and heading for victory. Here's a stage win for Sainck. 4 minutes and 9 seconds clear overall by the day's end of Thierry Magnaldi. And a great effort by Sotelo. Brought him home in third place on the day and fifth in the overall rankings. Yes, it was all talk about Meoni in the KTM team. Alfie Cox up to third in the rankings. Said he wouldn't have wished Meoni's luck on anybody. Well, Fontenay may have won the day for Mitsubishi. The sight of Prieto finishing 14th was not a happy one for them. And Nissan's, 4 of them in the top 6, including that of Stefan Pederhansel, the man who swapped 2 wheels for 4. Delighted with his day. Very beautiful day, he said. Very happy with second place behind the defending champion. It's a beautiful country, very different stage. He'd enjoyed himself. Schlesser, third on the day. Well clear of Prieto. He knew he'd got it in the bag. Even time to enjoy the scenery. Yes, a relaxed atmosphere for one and all towards the end of this stage. It was cruising time on the beaches of Senegal. In the T1 class, Luc Alphon so far ahead, he was able to take time out for a dip. He was also waiting for Strugo, linking hands with a man he'd done battle with. Lepre had won the trucks despite some problems, finishing well clear of Moskovski, who'd done so much, so often. And so to Saint-Louis to await the finale. Yes, destination Dakar and the parade. 240 kilometers of liaison. And a beautiful, heart-shaped 20-kilometre special. Well, it was to prove to be a dramatic day, at least on the bikes. Sainz led them in. Parade, none of it. Magnaldi was out to win, and there were errors at the beginning. The bikes went the wrong way, led by John Deacon. Magnaldi took a shortcut. That deemed ungentlemanly, and sadly, the day was annulled. Yesterday's results stood Sainz, the winner. Magnaldi upset about the error, and indeed claimed innocence. He said they were very nervous at the start. Everyone seemed to miss the turn, go the wrong way. I just tried my best, rejoined the riders. By the day's end, they decided to cancel it. Well, cancel it they may have done, but the rally won true and proper by this man. Richard Sainz on the BMW. He left KTM to join this team, a small outfit that suited him perfectly. A dream come true, he says. He just hasn't realised what's happened yet. Well, it soon became apparent as the thousands crammed round to hail the champion. Well, the cars were also there. They'd watched the bikes go. More orderly this time, the marshals in the correct places, making sure they stuck to the track. Trouble on the day for Salvador Servia, but he won it anyway. But the real champion, of course, was a man in a buggy. His name, Schlesser. Yes, he named the cars after himself. Jean-Louis Schlesser, taking the applause and very happy with his work. He says, I haven't quite realised yet. I'm here with all my friends, my brother. It's magnificent, he says. Yes, he's been here 11 times, he said, and this first time he's won. Well, there are other happy people as well. Not least, Miguel Prieto, and of course, Kleinschmidt and Tina Turner. The celebrations went on and on. Alphonse, the winner of the T1 class, and the trucks, Le Pré.